It's working.
It's working. Philip, Yunha, Claire, Alexander, patient 2311876661T. No. Something's wrong. This isn't supposed to happen. What up, Jippers? Lplays back once again for another Waking Titan recap update video, and once again, things have been going absolutely insane. Of course, in the last update video, we went through great loss and tragedy with the death of Elizabeth Layton, and following that, we received a brand new status update titled State of the Atlas Foundation, and this is what it said. I wanted to take a moment to talk about recent events. As you may have heard, I will be replacing Elizabeth Layton as the head of the Atlas Foundation. I will also continue to serve in my prior role until a suitable replacement is found. Regarding Elizabeth, we cannot take the time to grieve until our work is done. The 12 test subjects found at the Sacramento lab all need to be disconnected. We will gradually attempt to integrate them into the SATCOM interface with Ware's assistance. I can understand the hesitance and frustration some of you have expressed about working with Ware's team in light of recent events. Elizabeth would have wanted us to do everything we can to avoid more preventable deaths. Every effort is being made to communicate more clearly with Ware, and as a sign of good faith they have agreed to slow down their operations to free up more resources for Emily. While cleaning Elizabeth's office, we discovered 2 recently printed boxes of Atlas passes for CSD designations PB16 and PT16. We will need all the help and support we can get from the citizen scientists, and so we will dispatch these found passes as soon as possible. As an aside, Captain James Harry is no longer in charge of SATCOM security. He is currently awaiting reassignment, and all security queries should go through the security desk at Atlas HQ. And that status update, of course, coming from Major Sophie Dubois, who is now the new head of the Atlas Foundation. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's where we are, guys. We've got a new leader who, as far as I'm concerned, has yet to earn my trust. Elizabeth is gone, and we've got some more Atlas passes, actual Atlas V4 passes that are being sent out to CSD members. So if you are one of those 2 designations, keep your fingers crossed. You could be receiving one in the post at any moment, which I guess is pretty freaking cool, because I know there's a lot of people, me included, that still didn't actually receive an Atlas V4 pass. I did manage to get hold of one for myself, but it cost me an arm and a leg. I never actually got sent one, and I know there's a lot of people out there that didn't too. So there is still another chance that you might get one if you are one of those classes, PB16 or PT16. So good luck, CSD members. We also had some more activity going on with WakingTitan.com itself. So this was on June the 14th. We had some updates to the status and Loop 16 commands, and the status command updated to say uplink app update in progress, downloading additional components. The Loop 16 one updated to say testing simulation in process. We then also got a brand new Reddit post from Emily, or Loop 16 herself, and that led us to the following YouTube video.
Emily, Protocol 16, now active. When the uplink app is launched, we will be connected to the Dreamers. Through this interface, you will be able to guide some of my interactions. Don't forget, your goal is to trigger a distinct emotion or memory that will help us identify the Dreamer memory block in the simulation mainframe. Good luck.
So this video, of course, gave us a brand new mission that we could access through the SATCOM website, and that mission was to interact with these dreamers in specific simulations that she had set up and try to trigger a distinct emotional memory with them that would actually help us to find out who they are and fix their fragmented minds and piece their memories back together. So it was essentially a rescue mission for these new characters known as the Dreamers. Then the following day, we had some more updates on WakingTitan.com. They essentially led to a new status that said Uplink Guidance Protocol initiated. And at that point, the Uplink app also updated as well. And if you then typed help into the console there, this initiated a new protocol called the guidance protocol, and that was a way for us to actually talk directly to Emily, to talk to Loop 16 and interact with her for the first ever time on a one-to-one basis. And I gotta say, this has been one of my favorite moments in the ARG so far. The way this app is all set up, the way these conversations and interactions go on is so freaking cool, and everyone I've seen on Twitter taking part in this, on Reddit, on Discord, on eTark, people seem to be having a lot of fun with it, just going through the different conversations and simulations and trying to figure this stuff out. So I definitely recommend, even if you're behind, even if all of this stuff has already happened and been solved, definitely go and check this out and just try running through a few of these, because it is really impressive how they've set all of this up and how smooth and slick it all is. And there's actually some really interesting conversations and things you can get with the dialogue choices. Try going through them a couple of different times. You can get different results, different answers from each of the dreamers depending on how you frame the conversation. And of course, all of the stuff that we get back from those conversations is what gives us the clues to try and actually help them to unlock the next chain of their memory and ultimately try to save them and bring their minds back together. So initially on the uplink dashboard, we had 3 dreamers that were updated and an interface for each of them, which linked to their patient file, their physical status, and their memory fragments, along with an input field for each of them and an activation code to start things off. And if you're a bit lost at this stage, what you need to understand about these dreamers is that they're actual real-life human beings that are currently inside the wear headsets in a simulated world, and they're trapped in there and their minds have become fragmented. So what we're actually trying to do is getting there to help them and actually save lives. Although my suspicion, based on everything that has happened so far, is that we are not going to see any rescues happen here, guys. I really think that our actions, the things that we are doing under the guidance of Sophie, under the guidance of Emily, and of course working with Ware, is only going to result in more death and disaster. And of course, you guys already know at this point that my current theory is that these dreamers that we're trying to save, we're actually going to have the opposite effect. We're going to mess with their minds. This whole operation, this whole rescue attempt is going to go completely wrong. We're going to fragment their minds even more, and they're going to end up being warped and deranged beings that live within the simulation, and will actually present in No Man's Sky next as a new NPC enemy race that we're going to have to fight against. That, of course, is my speculation, my theory. Most people seem to absolutely not agree with me, but I'm just warning you guys, things could go horribly wrong here. But that being said, what we've been told at the moment is if we can actually go through the conversations with each of these individual dreamers, unlock each stage of their memory fragments by getting the access codes, and the way we do that, of course, is by having those conversations. There's things they'll talk about, intimate things they'll reveal about themselves, their circumstances, their memories, things that have happened to them in the past, the way that they feel about things. All of those little bits of information are clues, and from those clues, we've got to try and guess what's going to be the activation code to move us on to the next bit. Now, in theory, if we do that successfully, if we get through all of the memory fragments, we can bring them back together and make them whole again and actually extract them from the Wear headset. Although that hasn't happened so far. So I'm very skeptical about whether or not we are actually ever going to rescue anyone. But I guess we'll see. Fingers crossed, guys. We've had enough disaster lately. I'm not going to tell you what the codes are to unlock each of these little things, because I do think this is one of the most fun puzzles that's been given to us through the ARG. I definitely think at least the first couple of tries, you should go on there yourself, run through these conversations, see what you can get, take a few notes, see if you can guess any of these. If you can't guess them, there are ways that you can find them. You can join the NMS Discord, or you can go to the Game Detectives wiki as always and things like that. So the answers are easy to find if you're really stuck, but I do think you should at least give it a little try just to see if you can figure any of them out. But essentially, that's the gist of it. We go through, we get the clues, we unlock the next memory fragment, and then the next one, and then the next one, and eventually, if we get all of them, we should, in theory, be able to save these individual dreamers. So far, we haven't actually managed to save one yet, but we have been unlocking new dreamers. So we started off with the 3. There are 12 in total on the SATCOM website, and as we've been progressing through each of the individual stages, they have been unlocking more and more of these dreamers. So I expect at some point all 12 will be unlocked. I think we're probably going to kill a few of them off soon. I think something's going to go wrong, but maybe I'll be wrong and we'll save one or two, who knows. One thing I will point out though is that it's not exactly clear what schedule this is on. So we are going through the questions, we are unlocking the ones that we can, we are piecing together the fragments as quickly as we can. It seems like they're just kind of unlocking new ones every now and then. I can't see a pattern, it doesn't look like they're being unlocked on a schedule. It could be tied to some of the other ones that we're unlocking. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think anyone's really worked that out yet, but do keep an eye on it. Keep going back to the uplink dashboard because every now and again new dreamers are being unlocked, and that of course allows us to jump into brand new simulations and new conversations to try and unlock more and more of this stuff. We've got Philip, Yunha, Claire, Alexander, and then another one which is hash 2311876661T, which interestingly, rather than being a name like all the others, is actually a reference to lore that we see in the game of No Man's Sky itself. So this is just another one of those times where part of the Waking Titan lore and ARG actually crosses over and blurs the lines between the game No Man's Sky and the real world ARG and kind of links the two up. And where exactly in the game we've actually seen that reference to that number, to that name, is at the little crash site. And you find the little metal ball that's kind of broken next to a crash ship. It says scenario, iteration, then it says that number. It says transferred, deleted, probable boundary separation failure, vessel 16 emptied, sentinel intervention, deliberate transfer, unknown. So make of that what you will. In some way, that crash site, that reference is referring to someone that was at one point at least a dreamer trapped in the Wear headset. And there's all kinds of speculation we could jump into around that and how that's going to tie in, but I think I'll probably save that for another video because there is still a lot for us to get through in terms of what has actually happened with Waking Titan. So of course the main point of all of this, what we're trying to do on the uplink dashboard, what we're trying to achieve by unlocking all of these dreamer bits and progressing through all of this, is to unlock those elements. There's 6 elements on the top left of the uplink dashboard, and of course each one of those, when we finally unlock one, gives us a new teaser, a new feature reveal for the No Man's Sky next update. We had element 1, which gave us the ringed planet video. We had element 2, which of course was the scrambled image of the player model. If you want to see my thoughts on that, I've done an in-depth analysis video talking about that. I'm really excited about the player models, and we've seen a couple of more bits and pieces since then, but you can check all of that out on the channel. But basically the message here is that every single week, usually on either a Saturday or a Sunday, we're unlocking the next element here. We're on to 2 out of 6, and we're already 40% of the way through unlocking element 3. So I'm expecting either tonight or tomorrow, after I've made this video, we are going to have a brand new reveal, a brand new asset or feature from Next to talk about, and of course I'll make a video on that. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. Every single week now we're getting something new, and we're seeing little bits and pieces in between that from other places too. So right now is a very good time to be following all of this stuff. The actual ARG and the puzzles seem to be better than they've ever been, and we're getting solid information and leaks and reveals through them all the time. So definitely stay tuned and keep an eye on what's happening with Waking Titan. Now on June the 19th, the Loop 16 command on Waking Titan updated once again, and this time it told us new guidance protocol initiated, keyword liability. Now when we went over to the uplink app and typed in the word liability, we got the following message. Dear citizen scientist, the positive impact you've had so far on the dreamers is astonishing and has been a tremendous help in rebuilding their memory blocks. Remember that we need to gather as much information as possible on these individuals to safely extract them from the satellite. Please note that your interactions with the dreamers follow a personal simulation protocol, which is intended for you to get to know the dreamer personally. Seeking help from fellow CSD members before getting to know the person whose consciousness is stuck in the satellite might impact your future decisions. However, it is recommended that you discuss the dreamers' stories and personalities with the CSD community after you finish talking to them. Keep in mind that we are hoping to save all the dreamers, but you might need to make some difficult choices in the near future. Once again, bad things are gonna happen. I just know it, guys. I just freaking know it. This whole situation does not seem good to me at all. You can always ask me questions by typing help in the uplink app to return the full guidance protocol. So that is a tip for anyone who's using the app and is getting a bit stuck with it. If you type in help, you can get assistance there from Emily herself. But basically the point of this message was telling us that we should go and try doing these things on our own, which is another reason why I don't want to give away all the answers in this video. I do want people to have a little play around with it and try and do it. If you're really stuck, the answers are there. They're easy to find. And I'll put the links for game detectives and stuff in this video. So if you're really stuck or you just really don't want to try and do this, then you can go and look. But please give it a look. I think you might enjoy it more than you'd expect. Now, while all of this was going on, we also had an update to the Myriad status page. It was a completely scrambled paragraph that didn't make any sort of sense. It started off with uneasy Barton, and that's what people are referring to this clue as. It was basically a scrambled series of words and sentences that didn't make any sense. It was clearly some sort of clue that we had to decode and decipher, but we couldn't really figure out how to do that or what it was actually meant to give us. But we had also seen something very similar, another paragraph of just complete gibberish, when we typed in search Myriad into the SATCOM dashboard. So we now had these two paragraphs, these two sets of sentences that both didn't seem to make any sort of sense. But what some very smart CSD members did figure out is that both of these texts are traditionally used as placeholders in publishing. So they're not actually meaningful clues, they're just kind of placeholder messages, template text that are just popped in. Loads of people were looking at this, trying to find hidden messages and clues, combining the text in all sorts of different ways to get some sort of answer or clue out of it, but we were really struggling. But we have now actually discovered, and this was done on eTark, so definitely make sure you're signed up to the eTark Atlas CSD forum. Make sure you're on there, make sure you're keeping an eye on that. There's some really cool people over there, and they actually managed to figure this out when nobody else could. And what they found, that using the sign-off code UDC bracket B equals IXNI, and that was actually one of the things we'd got from that liability subroutine on the Uplink app, so it wasn't just a random guess. We had seen that reference somewhere else. When they came back and used that here, in combination with one of the backup nodes, which was UDCP, it actually did give us a new clue, and that was log.3022. And of course, that turned out to be a very useful clue, because when we entered search log.3022 into the SATCOM dashboard, we got a zip file with a private conversation between Loop 16 and Major Sophie Dubois. So it starts off with Emily. She says something is wrong. The satellite constellation has lost connection to physical backup node Alpha. I can't troubleshoot the connection. Can you check if it's something on your end? And then Sophie comes back to say it is. Aren't you supposed to be able to tell the future? Shouldn't you have seen this coming? Then Emily comes back with, I've been afraid to look. I had a nightmare. Liz is gone, Emily. Her and the node both. And then Emily comes back with, sorry, I just haven't... This is a new feeling for me. I'm having trouble understanding it. It doesn't get easier. What? Losing someone you care about is just as hard every single time. Eventually you learn how to cope with it, but it doesn't ever get easier. And then Emily just comes back to say, I'm sorry, I know you were close. Then Sophie asks if she can make a prediction for her, and she wants to ask, what would Elizabeth have wanted? Then Emily just comes back to say that they need to finish what they'd started, and that's what Elizabeth would have told them to do. She would have said, take responsibility for the situation and rescue the dreamers. And that's kind of the gist of the conversation, but there is a little bit more that goes on there. So Sophie comes back again and she actually asks, who did it? Who's responsible for this? Emily comes back. She won't tell us the answer, but she does say, you already know who did this. And of course, we all know who she's talking about. The evil were that I've been banging on about this whole time. They are the baddies. They are the main baddies. They are the ones that killed Elizabeth. They are responsible for all of this. I'm sure of that, but the only thing I'm not sure of right now is whether or not Emily can be trusted. She's still working with Ware. She's still telling us, even though Ware are bad, their technology is needed. It's going to do great things. It's the only acceptable future she can see is to work with them and use their technology. Almost makes it sound like that's the only way to save the world or something like that, but she doesn't really give anything away. She's just telling us to blindly go on, even though we know that Ware have done this terrible stuff, and just keep working with them to get this all sorted. And Sophie basically goes along with that. But she does say that her superiors are trying to pull the plug on the whole project, and Emily's basically saying you can't let them do that, and she says I won't. So this is a pretty deep, hard-hitting conversation. I'm really skeptical at the moment of Emily. She's kind of been a fan favorite this whole time. People seem to really love Emily, but I'm just not buying it. Something feels off to me right now, guys. I don't know what it is. I definitely know Ware are bad. I'm not sure I trust Emily right now. Elizabeth is gone. All kinds of emotions are flying around. I don't know who to trust anymore. Paranoia has set in. This whole thing is going crazy. So I guess we're just going to have to strap in for the ride and see what happens. But yeah, that's basically it in terms of what's actually happening with Waking Titan itself and where we've got up to with substantial updates. We've unlocked elements 1 and 2. We're about to unlock element 3. That could have even happened by the time you guys see this video. So just make sure you're keeping an eye out for anything else I post. Keep an eye out on the uplink dashboard to see if that element's unlocked yet and you can see anything cool. Because when we do get that, it's definitely going to be something else exciting. And again, please do go and check out the dashboard. Please do click on all of these dreamers. Try and go through some of these simulations on the Uplink app. try and have a bit of fun with it, because there's been some really cool stuff, and we are actually getting a couple of community puzzles that we have to work on together. So we had one for the dreamer Yoon Ha, where we had to like go out into the real world and take pictures of ourselves wearing bracelets that looked like one that she'd had in her memories. And then we had to like put all of that together in a collage and submit that back to Emily on Reddit. And that was to help Yoon Ha relax and calm down and make her feel more comfortable in the simulation. And right now, at the time of me making this video, there's another one going on for the other dreamer, Alexander, that's just been unlocked. And what we're trying to do there is actually call into real life radio stations and request songs to be played for Alexander. So the Waking Titan ARG is asking us, the CSD, to go out into the real world, to call into real radio stations, request songs for this fictional dreamer, and actually record that happening, and then submit that all together again via Reddit to Emily to get us through the next bit. So there's some really bizarre, interesting, fun stuff going on with this whole dreamer phase, and there's definitely going to be bits that all of us can get involved in. So if you do want to stay on top of all of that sort of stuff as it's happening, I think at this point there's a couple of good ways to do that. Follow Peaceful Gamer on Twitter, make sure you're checking the Game Detectives website, and definitely jump into the No Man's Sky Discord and the Game Detectives Discords, because that's where a lot of this stuff is being discussed in real time as it's happening. So if you want to jump in and take part in these community puzzles, that's the best way to do it. And of course, keep an eye on the No Man's Sky Reddit for any post by Emily or Loop16. Hopefully this video kind of made sense. There is so much happening, so much to pull together, so much to try and understand. I know it can be a bit difficult sometimes, but once you do get into it, this whole phase right now is so much fun. And I'm really excited about these next couple of element unlocks that we're going to get, because I feel like they're just going to get better and better each time. Hopefully you've enjoyed that one, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like and a comment. That stuff helps like crazy. If you want to support me that little bit extra, I have got a Patreon as well. The link for that will be in the pinned comment, and a little merch store. So if you want to go and grab some cool L Plays gear for your IRL adventures, you can do that. If you do that, make sure you tweet me some pictures and stuff, because I love seeing all of that. It makes me really happy to know that there's people out there that enjoy what I do that much. So yeah, thank you to anyone that does any of that, and thank you guys just for watching as well. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Take care of yourselves, and peace. I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to my current Patreon supporters: Shiraka Majeli, YO, Madeline J, NTB, Ovian S, Tyler D, Todd Cook, Neil B, Anarchy, Vanilla, Rasmus K, Autumn Long, Lukash, Husband Vader, Amras, Dale from the Atlas Hub, Ty the Blazer, Joanne Anderson, Heath, and the Portrait Dude. You guys are the best.